The times, they are changing, friends. Hey, what's going on, people? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host Jan. I hope you lot are all doing well today. I really do hope that. It is a new day for Chelsea Football Club, their players, and indeed their fans. Frank Lampard, well, the sun has set on his tenure at Stamford Bridge, and Thomas Tuchel is set to be announced the new Chelsea manager, maybe even by the time you are watching this video. Today, I'm going to tell you the good, the bad, and everything in between from the new German coach, so we all know what to expect from the Premier League's new Galactico manager, if you can consider him that level. Plenty of stuff to get into today. Do considering subscribing to Football Therapy, because there's so much going on with Chelsea Football Club at the moment, and there's daily content here, of course, so make sure you hit that bell notifications icon, and if you want more content like this, please do drop a like on this video. Remember to comment down below throughout the video as we get into today's content. So indeed, I think it's right we have a moment for Frank Lampard. He did a good job in his first season at Chelsea, and indeed started this season very well, but looked devoid of confidence, and it all went downhill from there. If you want the inside scoop, the story in detail of how Frank Lampard was eventually sacked, what went on behind the scenes, check out my previous upload for a detailed description of the narrative behind the scenes and how it ended for Frank. It's pretty emotional. Do go check it out. Frank Lampard has left a statement on his social media saying goodbye and explaining his situation. I'll read that to you now. It's been a huge privilege and an honour to manage Chelsea, a club that has been a big part of my life for so long. Firstly, I would like to thank the fans for the incredible support that I have received over the last 18 months. I hope they know what that means to me. When I took on this role, I understood the challenges that lay ahead in a difficult time for the football club. I'm proud of the achievements that we made, and I'm proud of the academy players that have made their step up into the first team and performed so well. They are the future of this club. I am disappointed to have not had the time this season to take the club forward and bring it to the next level. I want to thank Mr. Abramovich, the board, the players, my coaching team, and everyone at the club for their hard work and dedication, especially in these unprecedented and challenging times. I wish the team and the club every success for the future. Nice classy touch there from Frank Lampard, and it will be sad to see him go, but football moves on, and that's the way things are, and Chelsea have a new manager, the German Thomas Tuchel, most known for coaching Mainz, Dortmund, and Paris Saint-Germain. Good coach, good tactician. We will go through that in today's video, talk about formations and how he could potentially set up this Chelsea Football Club. But let's talk about some negatives first and get them out of the way so you have a full idea of the picture. Now, Thomas Tuchel is of course an excellent tactician. He's got very strong ideas and likes to assert them, really well known as a coach, a good training ground coach, something that Chelsea need, of course. But he often has a problem with a social filter and can lack delicacy when talking to some people. Recently, Demba Ba's spoken out about how he's not happy with Tuchel about some comments with racism and what happened in the game against PSG versus Besiktas. We don't know much details about that, but Demba Ba seems to be an honest guy, so I'm unsure if details will surface about that story. Throughout media and in the dressing room, he has been known to upset a few people. He's not so much the coach in terms of man management with social and emotional intelligence, more about coaching and seeing results on the pitch, which ultimately is Chelsea's priority at the moment. Recently, there has been a mini trail of destruction wherever Thomas Tuchel has gone. Of course, at Dortmund, there was a bit of a catastrophe fallout with the staff, Michael Zorc and Sven Mislintat, eventually seeing him dismissed and walking away from what was a very positive project at Dortmund with some good results and development of the team. So there's your first recent big red flag. Of course, he went on to Paris Saint-Germain, did some excellent work there. I believe he's got the highest win percentage of any recent PSG coach, obviously taking them to the Champions League final, but had a massive fallout with the director there, Leonardo. This started some while back in the dressing room with certain players as well as the management. Then there was all this sort of drama with Mbappe and contracts, and then he took it publicly to press conferences, and there was a lot of sort of arguments, airing dirty laundry, which is never nice between Leonardo and Thomas Tuchel. In fact, he wanted to sack him a long time ago, but the only reason he didn't is because Thomas Tuchel took Paris Saint-Germain to a Champions League final, kept him on for a little bit, but ultimately the writing was on the wall. It was just a matter of time, it was an inevitability that Thomas Tuchel was sacked, and towards the end there was a little bit of questionable lineups, very defensive midfields being selected, and it kind of just gave you air of Antonio Conte in his second season at Chelsea when he was deliberately playing poor lineups, trying to make statements on the pitch. Petulant really, and kind of concerning in that sense, because like Antonio Conte, he's a great tactician but causes a lot of problems with the boardroom and club. And because of this, a lot of people think it's a very peculiar appointment for Chelsea Football Club. Dominic Fifield of The Athletic, called it baffling recently on a podcast, saying it just seems like an absolute recipe for disaster when you marry that kind of coaching character like Conte or Tuchel to this kind of board and club like Chelsea. It might work at first, but it feels a little bit like a ticking time bomb in terms of a clash there. Still, weird to see, we're not sure. That's the negatives out of the way, so it's time we do the positives and all feel good about this pending appointment. First of all, Thomas Tuchel is an experienced coach and good tactician. Like I said at the top of the video, he's got strong ideas and he believes in himself and his ability. And if you look at Frank Lampard towards the end of his Chelsea tenure, that was seemingly an issue. He looked devoid of confidence and belief in himself, really. Thomas Tuchel, of course, is multilingual. He speaks fluent English, really good French, and is a native German speaker, which is ideal for the Chelsea squad, having a bunch of French speakers, of course, new superstar Germans, and being an English club as well. So he'll be able to communicate and assert his ideas, but Chelsea are not hiring him for his language skills. They're hiring him for his tactical approach, and apparently it's less so the German speaking, it's more the German footballing approach. If you look at the school of tactics and tactical approaches of late from German coaches, as in Tuchel, Nagelsmann, Hansi Flick, there's recurring narratives throughout their style of football and their school of football that they come from, and Chelsea want to implement that into southwest London. So, formations, tactics, what will Thomas Tuchel bring to Chelsea Football Club? Well, he's often found deploying a 4-3-3, which of course suits Chelsea Football Club down to a T. At Dortmund, here's an example of a 4-3-3 he was often found playing, and of course, here's one that he's recently played for Paris Saint-Germain. Unlike Frank Lampard's 4-3-3, this will be a lot more systemic and tactically tight. The players of Chelsea Football Club were reportedly unhappy with Frank Lampard's approach, as they didn't feel like there was enough tactical instruction and more emphasis on expression in the final third, which is great when you're high on confidence and you're feeling good, but when you're low on confidence and you're lacking tactical instruction, it often results in a sort of benign possession performance, where not much is happening. With Thomas Tuchel, a lot of that will be taken out of the players' hands and they will have the ability to just trust the tactical instruction of the coach and assert themselves on the pitch. Whether it will be as free-flowing and as attacking as Frank Lampard's theoretical attacking 8 midfield three, I'm not so sure. Here is a picture of the Champions League final lineup that Tuchel played against Bayern Munich, eventually losing 1-0. As you can see here, a very functional and quite defensive midfield three, but I'm not sure he'd go with that for Chelsea. I think he saw the threat in Bayern Munich and decided to play this midfield three, and to be honest, only conceding 1 goal, it kind of worked considering how good Bayern Munich were at the time. But being an ideas man on the pitch and on the training ground, Thomas Tuchel is not wedded to the 4-3-3. He's been found playing a 4-2-2-2, and often for a long period of time you would see him deploying a 3-5-2 with Paris Saint-Germain. Here is an example of a lineup when he deployed a 3-5-2 with PSG. He called upon this formation because he was not getting the desired results he was seeing with a 4-3-3 for a long time. He was assertive, he changed the formation, and he kept to it for a long period of time in Paris, the 3-5-2/3-4-3, depending on how you look at it, or depending on the opposition. This bodes incredibly well for Chelsea fans because we've seen success in changing the formation in the Premier League when things are not working, both under Frank Lampard initially and of course Antonio Conte. Chelsea saw incredibly good results switching into a 3-back system in the Premier League landscape, seeing great results at times. So the continuation of a 4-3-3 with Chelsea would be great, but it's good to know that Tuchel is comfortable and happy happy to change at any time depending on immediate results and opposition in front of him. So who is Thomas Tuchel going to play? Well, you'd assume Chelsea would have had words of him in the original interviews to give him the job that he has to play Timo Werner and Kai Havertz in terms of, or certainly he'll be appointed to get the best out of them, because ultimately Timo Werner is a great goal scorer who's devoid of confidence, who needs it back, and Kai Havertz has the capacity to be one of the best players around world football. Thomas Tuchel has coached some of the best players around world football, certainly in the shape of Neymar and Mbappe recently, and he'll try and bring the best out of these two guys as well. Whether he'll play a 4-3-3 with Timo Werner up front, I'm not entirely sure, because he's going to have to assess the form of the current squad. And the last game out, Tammy Abraham scored a hat-trick, and this season has a very good goal-scoring record. So we'll have to look at Tammy. Maybe he'll play a hybrid 4-3-3 with Timo Werner and Tammy next to each other, or go back to that 4-2-2-2. Regardless, a lot of players are going to have to train very, very hard on the training pitch. All three wingers feel like they'll have a chance to play in Tuchel's squad. Ultimately, a lot of people are going to create the links between, well, highlight the link rather between Pulisic and Tuchel. Obviously, he had him at Dortmund. Tuchel will look at his explosive success in the Premier League last season and probably try and implement that into his new squad. People need to understand that Thomas Tuchel will give a player a chance. Apparently, he really didn't want Moise Kean at PSG and was upset with the original signing, but he trained well on the training pitch, and ultimately Tuchel started using him in his team in game. So it's proof and evidence that you can win him over on the training pitch, and hopefully he won't have any favourites and he'll welcome any players into his starting 11. So that's it for today's video. If you have any thoughts, feelings or opinions, please do consider dropping them down in the comment section below. If you've enjoyed the content, drop a like. It shows me that you'd want more and I'll give you more. Consider subscribing to Football Therapy if you're new to the channel. Enjoy the football, and I'll see you later.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy talk. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought. Body bag the verse, outlined in chalk. In my life seen trouble, hustle on the double. Silence on the trigger like my pick got a muzzle. Yo chick like to guzzle, bad boy stay in trouble. I only love this paper, sorry I don't. I laugh me baby.